Hi everyone, welcome to this semester's first edition of BuffSports Live. I'm Zoe Paulson. We are so incredibly excited to be back, and we hope you're at least a little excited to see us. A lot has happened in the BuffSports world since we've been together, so we're here to give you all the updates. Just like everyone else, the basketball seasons at CU have been a series of cancellations. Some highs and some lows, but at least they're back on the court. The men's basketball team had signature wins at Kansas State, against Oregon, and at Stanford, but they've also had some ugly losses. The Buffaloes have lost to a Washington Huskies team that hadn't won a conference game to that point. They're 16-6 overall this season, 10-5 in the Pac-12. One player who hasn't had an up-and-down season, though, is McKinley Wright. This season has just been another chapter in a record-setting career for the senior guard. Troy Finnegan is here telling us about his achievements.
Chauncey Billups, Askia Booker, Alec Burks, Derek White. These are just some of the names we think of when we think of great guards to come through the men's basketball program here at CU. Numbers-wise, however, none of them stack up to what McKinley Wright is accomplishing as he charges toward the conclusion of his career as a Buff. Wright has been on a tear this year, averaging over 14 points, 4 rebounds, and almost 6 assists per game as the leader on a Buffs team that is close to locking up an NCAA tournament bid, their first since 2016. On the individual side, Wright has been rewriting the record book here at CU and beyond. On Saturday against Cal, Wright became the first ever Pac-12 men's player to accumulate 1,600 points, 600 rebounds, and 600 assists in a career. Additionally, he is only the 10th men's college basketball player since 1985 to reach these marks. By passing the 600 assists mark, Wright is now CU's all-time leader in assists, and he is continuing to move up among the Buff leaders in minutes, points, and field goals. Wright's historic efforts this season have earned him one of 10 spots on the Bob Cousy Award watch list, putting him in the running for the Bob Cousy Award at the end of the season as college basketball's best point guard. This prestigious award has been won in the past by NBA stars such as Kemba Walker and Ja Morant, and Wright has certainly done enough this season to earn a spot on that list. We're lucky to have him here in Boulder, and we at BuffSports Live are pumped to see how he finishes off this season. Zoe, back to you.
The women's team, on the other hand, hasn't done so well. They're 8-9 on the season, 6-8 in the Pac-12. But they did have one big win, and that was against Stanford. The one thing the Cardinals do not want to see on the other side of the floor is the black and gold. The men's team beat Stanford twice, once here in Boulder and the other in Palo Alto. And on January 17th, the women's basketball team beat first-ranked Stanford here at CU. Here's a video of them celebrating. Coach J.R. Payne was really excited about the win. Take a listen.
Just unbelievably proud of our ball club. I told them in there that there's 1,000 reasons I'm proud of them for the way that we performed today. And the biggest is just that we really had the right mindset going into this game. There was no fear. We were excited for the opportunity.
A great win for Coach Payne and the Buffs, knocking off the #1 team. But stick around, because coming up next, we've got cool stories and a blast from the past for several BSL viewers.
Please record in mic and cue talent in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mic up on 2. All right, take 1. And fade camera 2. Take 3. Ready, red. Roll red. Take cam 1. Take red. Take it. Come on, roll red. Let's go. All right.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm just calling the show.
There's no show.
Larry Scott was commissioner of the Pac-12 for the past 11 years. Over the break, he stepped down from his position. His career was full of ups, downs, big hopes, and ultimately, many failures. We talked with Andrew Hobner, CU alum and current sports director at KEZI in Eugene, Oregon, about his thoughts on Scott's controversial career, as well as his optimism for the Conference of Champions.
Well, I think at the start of his career, it actually looked like he was going to be a pretty visionary commissioner for the Pac-12. At the time, that the Pac-12 signed their newest media rights deal, it was the richest among Power 5 conferences, and Larry Scott was the guy who helped engineer that. Now, the drawbacks came in when he couldn't make a deal with DirecTV, and DirecTV is one of the biggest cable providers for sports fans across the country.
We talked about the ways that the Pac-12 will benefit from this commissioner change.
The first thing is you shed your worst PR disaster, because over the last couple of years, it was PR Gaffey after PR Gaffey under Larry Scott. And it seemed like in the last 3-4 years of his tenure specifically, he kind of checked out a little bit. And there were things that commissioners don't do that he missed the mark on. And when you're not, I guess, presenting a return on investment for why you get paid the way you do, then your salary and your house and where the conference offices are and the layoffs you are putting people through, those things start to get put under a microscope even further.
We talked about the ways that this was a necessary move for the Pac-12.
How can you convince fans? How can you convince national media pundits, recruits in the revenue-generating sports of football and basketball, that this conference does take it seriously when your most visible person, the person leading the conference, does not appear to take it seriously? Now you have an opening to bring somebody in who understands the landscape, who understands the seriousness of what this conference's situation is, and it is dire right now. They need someone in here that is going to fix a lot of broken things. And so just getting rid of him is already a step up in itself.
He also told me how he thinks the Pac-12 can fix this problem.
Moving forward, what they need to do is find somebody who understands the dynamics of the conference, understands the money situation, has the ability to work with these networks to try and secure a favorable media deal when the rights come up in 2024 and 2025, and have a care for this conference that Larry Scott did not seem to. So you need to find, if I'm the new commissioner or whoever the new commissioner is, look to a CBS or an NBC, look to streaming services like Amazon, Paramount Plus. NBC is doing an interesting thing where they're moving all of their sports stuff over to streaming or over to the USA Network, and indicating a move that that's going to be the future of how we as people ingest sports. So you have to examine those options and find a place that's less about money and more about care and what is going to be the best fit.
And finally, he gave his advice to the Pac-12 Commission.
Chase fit and chase people that are going to treat your conference as the best conference in the country, as opposed to ESPN and Fox, who will air games on their network and then have analysts in the halftime show pillory the Pac-12 and make fun of it as not serious, not as serious as any of the other ones that they have the media rights to.
But for the Pac-12 fans around the country, he says,
I think they should be very optimistic. I think Pac-12 fans are one of the most disrespected subsets of fans in the country when it comes to athletics. I mean, we are treated as second tier because we don't have the fanaticism that the SEC has. Well, there are a massive amount of Pac-12 fans in the footprint, and I really do believe that fan bases in the Pac-12 are massively untapped resources. They are people that get energized if you decide to activate them, but there's been no reason for Pac-12 fans to be activated about really anything. Colorado fans have been waiting for a football team that wins more than 5 games for 25 years now. And even still, they show up to Folsom Field and have in the last 3-4 years more than they ever did during my time there, in which we won 1 conference game in the 4 years that I was a student. So fans should be excited for the prospect of anything being better than Larry Scott, first of all, but also the prospect of potentially finding somebody that is going to view this conference as the best collegiate athletics conference in America and is willing to pay that level of attention to it.
So the Alamo Bowl didn't go so well. The football team was excited to be back in a bowl game for the first time in 5 years. But COVID issues took most of the secondary out of the game. Colorado barely had enough scholarship players for the game. But they still played. The lone bright star in the game was true freshman quarterback Brendan Lewis, who made his debut after Sam Neuer got pulled. Lewis finished 6 for 10 with 95 yards passing, leading 3 touchdown drives.
I think we made some positive steps last year, and still got quite a ways to go. We got a good nucleus of players coming back. we're going to need to, to develop.
Colorado volleyball is finally back on the court after the Pac-12 postponed their fall season. They've beat Oregon State and Cal, but lost to Washington State. They're playing the first of 2 matches against Washington right now. Pac-12 set up the volleyball schedule so they play 2 matches in a row against the same team to limit travel. Good luck to our Buffs out there. And a quick question to our Boulder viewers. Have you noticed how cold and snowy it's been? The other day, my eyelashes literally froze in the -degree weather. So instead of just shivering by themselves, Coloradans often use this winter weather to their advantage by hitting the slopes. Most ski for fun, but a select few are skilled enough to compete. After the break, we'll check in on some very special skiers.
They were nervous and inexperienced, as new faces looking to achieve greatness. As the years went on, they grew confident in their abilities.
Maybe. Yes, sir!
Now they look to guide others in the same pursuit.
There it is! Can you believe it?
All are welcome to be featured on the biggest stage.
Is it his time?
We invite you to discover what you're capable of at BuffSports Live.
We're back now with the story at Eldora Mountain, the only ski slope that's actually in Boulder County. BuffSports Live's Vinay Simla is here with a story about a volunteer organization that's making a huge difference.
The snow for Coloradans means it's time to grab their skis. Or for CU alum Billy Goldstein, just one ski.
So about 5 years ago or so, I lost my left leg to a diabetic infection.
But Billy's story's not about what he can't do without his leg. Instead, it's about what he can do to help others. He asked himself,
I'm going to have a life that is less than reaching its potential, or am I going to use that as a slingshot to turn my life into something special, help others, inspire others.
After losing his leg, Billy learned to ski again through an adaptive ski program called Ignite, started by CU alumni.
You're looking at it.
Now Billy's using his experience to teach students of his own. Since Ignite started 45 years ago, they've grown to teaching almost 300 students every year. Today, one of those students is Scott Culver. Scott was born with a brain injury called cerebral palsy. He's cognitively sharp, but uses a wheelchair to get around.
How many years have you been skiing? 6.
As an adrenaline junkie, Scott's been on the slopes since he was 4 years old.
He's no rookie.
His instructor sets him up on a Tetra ski,
1, 2, 3.
loads him onto the lift, and lets him go. Scott maneuvers left and right, using his core strength to steer.
And right, Scott.
All the way to the bottom.
Did you learn some new stuff? No.
There we go.
Along with the physical development, the instructors say they see an emotional difference in their students too.
It does a tremendous amount for your psyche, for your confidence, something that really carries over into every other part of your life. And there's nothing better than being part of that when it happens for one of your students.
For these volunteers, that's the payoff.
The secret to happiness is helping others. In my case, losing my leg turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. So.
Helping their students transform on the slopes and in life. Now, Ignite is a fully volunteer organization. They're always looking for more volunteers or donations. You can find out more information at igniteadaptivesports.org. And Zoe, I spent the entire day with them up at Eldora. Every single volunteer I spoke to said they're addicted to volunteering. They have to help out every weekend. It means so much to them. And it really is a special place. They're doing some great work. And just an FYI, we filmed that before COVID, so all those social distancing concerns didn't apply back then.
Thanks, Vinay. And speaking of cold, I think we could all use a little bit of warmth. Luckily for us, this week's segment of Rapid Fire is extra fiery, and it's coming up right after this.
Deserves a second look. Michael taking off, the patented tongue comes out. Just in front of that line. Look at this, the double clutch, the reach out.
Pass in left wing, looks behind him, wide open, right wing, up top, open for three, fires.
Really good basketball, Mark. Unselfish, smart basketball.
Open for three, fires, nothing but nylon from downtown. Good ball move by Colorado.
Hi there, the name is Kevin Wu, and I'm here to break down the coming week in sports in our newest edition of Rapid Fire. First up, CU's volleyball team is looking for a win this Sunday as they compete against Washington. They'll face off at 1:30 p.m. in the CU Event Center. Moving on, men's basketball will be looking for a rebound against the Oregon State Beavers on Saturday at 6 p.m. after suffering a loss against Oregon late Thursday night. Women's lacrosse will be looking for their first win after suffering a loss to the Louisville Cardinals Thursday. They'll travel to Nashville in a face-off against Vanderbilt this Sunday at 10 a.m. And last but not least, the women's soccer team is matched up with Weber State this Saturday at Princeton Field. Game time is set for noon. And with that all being said, we wish you all the best to our student athletes this weekend, and as always, Skill Buffs. Back to you, Zoe.
Now, Ignite is a fully
Well, everyone, I
volunteer
hope you all had
organization.
as
They're
much
always
fun as I
looking for
did.
more volunteers
Thanks for
or
watching.
donations.
Subscribe to our
You can
YouTube,
find
follow
out
us on
more
Instagram,
information
tell your
at
friends, all of it. Have a great weekend.
igniteadaptivesports.org.
Stay
And
warm
Zoe,
and
I
Skill
spent
Buffs.
the entire day with them up at